Hatha Yoga. Today I received a really great question, and that question is, how do I get into a yoga state of mind? I think this is a great question to ask for anyone starting off their own practice. And so I want to share with you my experiences with it and my thoughts on it. I'm not an expert, I'm just a practitioner of yoga, but this is how I look at it. First of all, is there this magical thing called a yoga state of mind? I'm not sure of it. I think it's all in your individual experience of yoga that determines what your state of mind during yoga is. I know yoga to traditionally be a practice of preparing the body and the mind for prolonged meditation. The person who asked the question told me that she often experiences her mind racing on when she tries to practice her yoga. This leads her to try to quiet the mind, and when that doesn't work, to frustration and then giving up her practice. Is this recognizable? Very much so. I remember the first few yoga classes I took, and I literally told my teacher that I do not know how I got myself to keep going to class. Because every time I went, this battle ensued on the mat, and it was a battle of my ego, of the expectations I had of myself, of the expectations I thought that the world had for me, of trying to mirror myself with this idea that I had of what it is that yoga is. My mind would be racing as well. It will go crazy, there will be a lot of thoughts. If I wouldn't be able to get into a posture right, I would beat myself up over it. I would be very, very, very rough for myself. So do you need to be in a meditative state to start doing yoga? No. To reach that state is exactly what the practice of yoga is for. So you don't have to have a quiet mind. What is important though is that you have compassion. To get this type of quiet mind, you need practice and compassion. And to me, compassion is the most important aspect of it. And you need this compassion for yourself. So if your mind is racing, allow it to be racing. In this society, we are bombarded with information all the time. We have phones that inform us of every little newsflash that is going to come by. Friends are hitting us up all the time. Television screens everywhere. Even if you don't have one in your home, you're still going to see quite a few of them during the day. So it's only natural that our mind is overstimulated and so extremely busy. Don't beat yourself up over that. That's not your fault, and it's not a bad thing either. What is a bad thing, though, is to add to that noise by being angry at yourself, by feeling like you're not being good enough, because that's what it stems from. If you think you have to do a certain thing and you're not doing it, then that is telling yourself you're not good enough, you're not doing it right. And you know what? In this society, we hear way more than enough of that already. So when you come to your yoga mat, I think the most important thing to practice is compassion. So when you come to your mat and your mind is racing, allow it to race. Look at it. The only thing you can try is to not interact with it. So if your mind drifts a certain way, just watch it and experience that between the part of you that is thinking, the thinker inside of you, and the consciousness in which this thinking is perceived are two different things. So just sit and look at yourself or listen to yourself think. But don't start a conversation, because that's what we're used to doing. So I think, oh, I still got to do groceries. So this thought pops up. And then as soon as my mind tells me I need to do groceries, I start making a list. And I think, oh yeah, I need eggs, and I need some lettuce, and I start making a list. And so I'm feeding into it. So then when my mind is quiet again, the mind thinks, wait a minute, we've been here before. You also still need to go to the library to return your books. And so it keeps us engaged the whole day. Now, the second important ingredient that I mentioned before is practice. Because you know what? This is not going to happen overnight. You can have the awareness of the fact that you shouldn't interact with your mind and your thoughts. But that's easier said than done, really. I still have days where my mind is racing and I can't get into my yoga practice as deep as I would want to. But what I've learned so far is that I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm just going to let it be. So what? My mind is racing. I'm not really fully there. But that's what it is in that moment, and that is just absolutely fine. And I think that is a very important lesson to learn, because it really isn't about the thoughts that we have, but it's about the way that we handle it and the way that we look at it. So be kind to yourself, be compassionate. There's nothing wrong with you for having a mind that's racing. You're not doing anything wrong by not being able to silence your mind straight away. Because truthfully, if people were able to silence their mind straight away, yoga wouldn't have existed. Yoga is invented to help people reach that point where they can sit in prolonged times of meditation. And even if you ask gurus who have mastered the technique of meditation, I think there's only very few who will tell you that they have absolutely no thoughts during that time. The mind thinks. That's what it does. And so as long as we have the mind, it is going to think. And sometimes it'll be less, sometimes it'll be more. So really, two key things to do is to be compassionate with yourself and to practice. Practice by getting back on your mat. And if today you get so frustrated that you don't want to continue, get off it. It's a new day tomorrow and you can start afresh. And if your mind is racing, try not to engage with it. And this is just a try. There's no good or bad here. I hope this helps you with starting up your own practice. Peace, love, and light. Namaste.